Hey y'all, so I'm guessing this is just going to be a new segment on my channel now. It's going to be called Pop Quickie, where I just pick out a hot topic that I didn't get to talk about on Pop Roast and just give you my unfiltered opinion on it. It's going to be like a short video, probably 10 minutes or less, addressing like a topic that everybody's talking about. Now, what caught my eye this week is this headline that Ryan Coogler was arrested in a Bank of America for withdrawing his own money. Now, it's been a huge back and forth on social media because it can definitely be about profiling and racism. So I worked as a teller at Wells Fargo for 6 months when I was in Atlanta before I moved to New York, just as like a side job. And I definitely feel I can bring some perspective into this as well because there is nuance to this situation. Let's read the article, shall we? So basically, Ryan Coogler walked into a Bank of America branch in Atlanta. And I used to work at the Wells Fargo in Atlanta on Cumberland. If y'all from Atlanta, I worked right across from the Chick-fil-A. Then there's a Copeland's when you turn on the street. It's definitely near Cumberland Mall area. But anyway, this happened in January. So I'm not sure why this didn't get national headlines when it happened, but I guess he didn't want to tell anybody about it. So then he walked into the bank and he went up to the teller and he passed a note to the pregnant cashier asking for $12,000 in cash. He basically took one of those withdrawal slips and wrote on the back of it, "Please do the money count somewhere else. I'd like to be discreet." So the bank teller mistook this incident for an attempted robbery and alerted the police. Cops arrived and detained two people waiting outside for Coogler in an SUV. They said the engine was running. It's just the optics of it I can see didn't look great. They then went inside the police and put him in handcuffs. I did not know Ryan Coogler was my age. They let him go once they realized the incident was just a misunderstanding. It remains unclear why Coogler needed $12,000 in cash. Bank of America then apologized to Coogler at the time, and then again this past Wednesday. And also what came out the other day is the 911 call by the teller. Now, let's listen, shall we?
So I just told my manager I didn't feel comfortable, so he told me to call police while he just stalls.
What's on the note, ma'am?
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Is this an actual customer, or are they trying to rob the bank?
They had a debit card and he inserted it. He gave me a California ID, but I was like, okay. I was like, how do you want the cash back? And he was like, just look at the note.
And he had no weapons, correct?
Not that I know of. He just has on black sunshades, black hat.
Is he a black male, white male?
He's a black male. And every time I ask him like a question, he's like, look at the note. But he inserted his debit card, and then I asked for his ID. He handed me his ID as a California ID. But I didn't look at his name because I'm just like so shook up. Like, I don't know what he's trying to do. So I just told him, give me one moment. You know, I have to get my manager.
Okay, so none of his information was even verified. Okay. He might just want to be discreet, but I have police around.
Yeah, I mean, he might. It just seemed weird.
Whoo, child. So you can even hear the dispatcher like, well, he just might want to be discreet, but I got people coming over. So we do find out that the teller was clearly black. Now, it really would have been a thing if the teller was white. Let's just say that. But I still think racial bias came into play as well in this situation. Like, again, it's just so many moving parts. So let me start with this first perspective. The teller sound inexperienced as fuck. These teller jobs, they don't make that much money. It's about $10 to $11 an hour. I did it. It's a real thankless job. It's worse than serving, y'all. Imagine serving, but with a bank involved, and people get really angry when it comes to their money. I've experienced people waiting on their food, but people waiting on their money, it's a whole different level of anger. I've seen some shit working at Wells Fargo in those 6 short months I was there. So my perspective as a teller at Wells Fargo, someone comes in with a note, I'm already like, anxiety is high. You don't slip notes to tellers. You just don't. I don't care who you are. Especially like when we have masks and sunglasses on, it looked like Ryan Coogler was being very, very discreet. When you slide notes to a teller, that's an automatic trigger for them that this may be a bank robbery. She didn't know what to do in this situation, which her inexperience comes into play. Because if customers come in asking for even a third of the money that Ryan asked for, I still need to do all these protocols. I need your debit card, I need your ID, I gotta look up all this shit in the computer. I sometimes have to look up your history because y'all don't understand how much fraud happens in a bank on a daily basis. So withdrawing a third of that cash would take at least a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes because we just can't be handing out money to people. Now, something as large as $12,000, shit like that isn't even in my drawer. The least would be in my drawer would be maybe $8,000 to $10,000 cash. Now, also, given your experience to the teller, some tellers hold more money than other tellers. So if you're a new teller, they might just give you $3,000 to $5,000 in your drawer. So I'm thinking this lady was just very inexperienced. I don't understand why she didn't just look up information to see if things wasn't adding up. Now, if things wasn't adding up, that's when we also call the police because we do call the police for fraud situations. Immediately, she should have brought a manager to assess the situation and then ask him questions. That's another thing. Like, she skipped so many protocols, y'all, that Ryan Coogler has a case if he wanted to sue. But being that it was like a black teller involved, I think maybe that's why he didn't want to sue. Now, if the manager still called the police, that should all be on that manager. It shouldn't be on the teller. Now, if the teller just went and called the police on her own, she's a dumbass for that. Like, from my experience, if I'm in a situation where I don't know what to do, I grab a manager and they take care of it from that point. I'm just observing what the manager is doing. But I really think the police should not have even been in the equation. Or, like, for them to cuff him, it wasn't even a conversation. But from the looks of it, to me, it was just this young, experienced girl didn't know what to do when this guy, who she probably profiled, had a hoodie, a mask, and sunglasses on, just telling her to look at the note, look at the note. She just automatically assumed it was a robbery and didn't even assess the situation. She panicked, which can seem a little crazy that she just panicked so fast, but we don't know her experience working in that bank. Maybe they got robbed a couple days ago. Maybe a lot of shit went down at this bank and she didn't want to take any chances. Like, when I left my job at the bank, a few months later, it got robbed. And it can get real set it off real fast. Like, it could be just a regular day of you going into work to like a crime scene just like that on a Monday. So I can understand the fear she may have had. And then again, the amount of fraud that happens in the bank. Like, one time when I was working, there was this white woman that came in with a copy of a check just on regular printer paper and she wanted to cash it. And she signed it, but it was like, it wasn't even an official bank document. It was just like she had a copy of a check that she printed out at home and she wanted me to cash that shit and told me that with a straight face. And you know what I did? I didn't tell her nothing. I just got a manager involved. I didn't call the police. Like, I was just like, ma'am, I can't do this. And she was just like, but it's a copy of a check. It's signed. It has my name on it. I'm like, ma'am, this isn't an official bank document. I can't even put this through the computer. So when I got the manager had my side and just told the lady she couldn't do this. And the lady was just like, well, I did it before at the other Wells Fargo location. Why can't I do it here? And we told this woman, we can't help you, and she left. Here's what Ryan Coogler could have done in this situation. Now, it wasn't his fault at all. I'm just going to preface with that. But there's just so many variables that could have been done to avoid the situation altogether. First and foremost, when you're at the income level of Ryan Coogler, you should have a personal banker, period. Like, handling that much money, because when you go into the bank, you see the personal banker and then he carries out the transaction for you. You just sit in his office and be comfortable. Second of all, you don't write notes in a bank. You just don't. You don't slide notes to the teller because that's automatically a trigger to them that a robbery is happening. We have training videos and handbooks to tell us what to do in the event of a robbery. Now, who is more at fault in this situation? Definitely the bank. They could have definitely trained the teller more. The manager should have definitely assessed the situation better. And then the police, that's a whole different segment where they could have just asked questions instead of just cuffing this black man, because I'm sure the police definitely had a racial bias when they came in. But yeah, the story does get real fuzzy when it was like a black teller involved. Now, these teller positions, again, this is fast food level entry employment. You don't need a college degree to be a teller. You can just be straight out of high school. All you need is like a customer service background. You can go from working at the Gap. That's experience for you to be a teller. And these jobs don't pay that much, so you're gonna have some employees that's just like, okay, I'm just here for the check. And also in the event of the robbery, what they tell you to do in training is to comply. Let's just say if it was a robbery, what I'll do in that situation, I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't even press that button underneath the counter. Here's the money, you take it. I don't get paid enough for this bullshit. I'm not about to risk my life to be a hero for a job paying me $10 an hour before taxes. I think it's a shame that he was arrested in this situation for taking out his own money, but there's also some variables that could have been taken on Ryan Coogler's side and more so on the bank side. So that's what I think about the situation, y'all. Please let me know in the comments what you think. And also, look out for Pop Roast, because there's some breaking news that's about to happen today. Jussie Smollett is about to be sentenced. Lord, I hope this man does not get jail time, but we will see. I think he definitely needs to just have probation, maybe 1 year probation, and that's it. Please, I hope they don't put this man in jail, because we will never hear the end of it. It's going to turn into a whole social justice moment. Anywho, y'all, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. And I might do these Pop Quickie videos once a week. I never know. Bye.